Thanks for having me today. On the way in, I passed Pine Street, and it brought back a lot of memories. A few short years ago, I found myself unemployed and homeless. And Pine Street in Atlanta, one of the most notorious homeless shelters, is where I had to live. One room, 2 adults, 2 teenagers, 1 pregnant, and a dog. So you know that I was dealing with a lot of conflict. I mean, unemployment, teen pregnancy, overcrowding, but there were other issues beneath the surface that people couldn't see. They couldn't see the fact that I was so ashamed for even having been in that situation. They couldn't see how I was emotionally just breaking down. And there really wasn't time for me to break down. I had to be a support system for our daughter, who was gonna be a mom on her own and was dealing with her own issues of being judged. Thank you. I had to be an example of resilience for my teenage son, who some may say he was born with 2 strikes against him, Black and male. I needed to be the wife, the partner, and the support for my husband, who had a vision of his own to start his own health tech company. So I didn't have time to break down, guys. I put myself together and I went prepared on job interviews, hoping and praying that no one would find out my true situation. I was hoping and praying that I might be able to land a job so that I did not have to go before a caseworker and ask them for help to take care of my family. So what do? My husband and I went to the Advanced Technology Development Center at Georgia Tech, and we went through their startup gauntlet, pushing to try and get our health tech company off the ground. I continued to go to school. I was a few months shy of earning my MBA, and I pushed. I held on to that because I knew that at some point, something good would be happening for me on the other end. And that good came in the form of SV Academy. SV Academy is an online fellowship program, and our goal is to actually train individuals like me that might not have access. They don't have the Ivy League background. They don't have a way or anyone to give them a hand up and help them into the tech industry. We provide them with the skills and the tools and the training to be successful entry-level BDRs. But more than that, SV Academy focuses on the growth of the individual, focuses on personal development. And I can't tell you guys how much I needed that. So being accepted into SV Academy, I was of the top 2% of elite applicants that got accepted. And I knew that when I signed that acceptance, that agreement, that my life was going to change. And surely it did. When I graduated from SV Academy, that woman that was broken, that woman that was insecure, I walked into my new job like, I got this, y'all. I got it. I knew that I could be a star. I knew that I could shine because the program helped to build me up, gave me the skills, and I was very, very confident. While at my company, DocuTap, I won that hustle chain there because I hustled. I came in with the grit. I made as many calls as possible. I was killing it. And they awarded me that hustle chain. I was a BDR for 10 months while at DocuTap. Shortly after that, I was promoted and I became a client success manager. Did that for about 6 months. And then SV Academy says, sunshine, come on home. We want you back. So now I am on the admissions team at SV Academy, and I get to interview fellows and share not only my story, but the mission of SV Academy with people that are interested in applying for our fellowship. And I get the opportunity to stand before you wonderful people today and share with you. So I'm about to ask you a question, and it might be a little uncomfortable, but there's no judgment because we're all in this together, right? So, a show of hands, how many of you, kind of knowing my background and what I shared with you, how many of you would actually hire someone like me? Thank you. So, there are a number of companies who wouldn't be willing to take that risk, right? And it's fair, right? You know, it's fair. But here are some of the reasons why they may not be willing to take that risk. One is foundational, right? If I'm being honest, our country has not done the best job when it comes to race relations, right? So, you know, a lot of times there are biases that are kind of embedded into our systems, and we're not even aware of it. And we can't blame anybody in the room for the way that things are, right? But we can challenge each other to ensure that every interaction that they have with someone else in the workplace and outside of the workplace, that they show that other individual that they are valued. Another reason why companies might not want to be taking that risk is because hiring managers, they just can't sometimes. Sometimes if they hire the wrong person, that means it's their job on the line, right? So what do? They kind of go back to what works. So they go back to the well, they go back to the Ivy League schools, and a lot of people that do have promise just don't get that opportunity. Also, people tend to hire who they know. Right? You hire people that are pretty familiar, people that you feel like you can trust. And these are all things, they're not bad things, but we can do some things just a little better. So let's talk just a little bit about, well, we know companies are really focusing on a diversity and inclusion initiative. One major company that we all know has been putting so much money into their diversity inclusion initiatives, and that's Google, right? They've got billions of dollars, and they've been working tirelessly to improve their diversity and inclusion program in business. But this is Google's report right here. So if we're looking at it, the number of women hires overall, you know, did increase from 2017 to 2018. But look at how the number of black hires dropped. And we're doing a little better in the area of, you know, there have been some increases in the area of Latin hires. But there's more that can be done. And guess who's got the secret? SV Academy. What we found is that there's so much unseen opportunity. Research has shown that the most successful and best salespeople are those that have faced adversity. They got that grit. They've been through some things, right? They're not afraid of a challenge. They're not afraid if when things get tough, they just keep rolling because they've got that tenacity, right? We've noticed that a number of these fellows, candidates that have this grit, they've also come with a whole lot of promise. But sometimes with that promise, they just don't have the insurance there. So at SV Academy, what we've done over the past 2 years, we've gotten about over $20 million in job offers for our fellows that have graduated the program. 40% of our fellows are women. 60% are African American or Latinos. 70% are first-generation college grads. 70% of the grads were promoted within that first year. And our employer partners come back and tell us that they have seen 2 times the retention rate as a result of our training. Which is awesome, right? Feel free to give us a clap. So there's so much opportunity. And some of the things that you can do in order to improve cultural and diversity and increase that in your organizations, you can do a couple of small things. You can go back and look at your job description language. Find out if there's any language that's gender leading, and just, change it. You can look at your interview loop. Find out who's doing the interviewing, find out what questions they're asking, and then go back and kind of determine how these decisions are being made. And you can definitely provide some more exposure for your employees. Make opportunities for them to actually go sit in different departments and find out what other departments do. And lastly, I would ask that if you see somebody coming into your establishment, and they might be coming to you for a job, and they might not seem like they have everything together, just take a minute and think about possibly taking that risk. Because if you don't, you might be passing up on a little bit of sunshine. Thank you.